Rio coalition government has, had scams after scams, has betrayed the people of Nagaland. This major High Court scam has hit Nagaland owing to the Rio coalition government's shortcomings. 44.24 crores were sanctioned against the electrification and water supply. We are heading towards the elections of Nagaland, and the Rio coalition government has, had scams after scams, has betrayed the people of Nagaland in the name of development, joining hands with their allies, the BJP, who are running the central government in the country right now. And today we are here to speak majorly about the High Court scam, which has hit the state of Nagaland under Rio coalition government's rule. All of you know, because our PCC president has held press conferences regarding that in the past, that this major High Court scam has hit Nagaland owing to the Rio coalition government's shortcomings, their intent to betray the people of Nagaland, the kind and trusting people of Nagaland. In 2007, when Congress was in center, necessary amendments were made to the Constitution, effected in 2012, wherein arrangements were made for high courts, independent high courts, to be granted to the states of Nagaland, Meghalaya, Tripura, and Manipur. 2007, the sanctions were made, the work started. 2013, while the High Court buildings of Manipur, Tripura, and Meghalaya were on the verge of being inaugurated, and they were eventually inaugurated, and the High Courts of these three states started functioning from their own buildings, Nagaland was still left unattended, was still bereft of the promise, the commitment that the government had made, the third time Chief Minister had made back then when he was in his second term, and had said that the High Court building will soon be complete. But in 2013, we saw that not only the building was nowhere to be seen, the basic structure was just starting to come along. Till date, about 70 crores worth of financial sanctions have been made in that regard. You all know that. In various shifts and chunks, these sanctions were made. Till 2017, these sanctions were amounting to somewhere around 52 crores. And thereafter, much more sanctions came in, and 70 crores worth rupees were sanctioned in the name of the High Court building. The fact is, while not even the basic structure, as I said, was in place, the Rio coalition government, in collusion with the BJP, had withdrawn around this amount. 22.42 crores was sanctioned against the construction of judges' bungalows, for which even the areas had not been earmarked. 44.24 crores were sanctioned against the electrification and water supply of a project site of whose basic structure was not even in place. What a farce the Rio government, in collusion with the BJP, tried to play on the people of Nagaland, on the learned advocates of Nagaland, on the whole justice system of Nagaland. While all the opposition parties have urged many a time, and while he should have rightfully resigned on moral grounds, on ethical grounds, he still not only sits in the CM office, his government continues to siphon public money while Mr. Rio faces interrogation at ED. Mr. Rio and many of his allies face interrogation at ED. Now, to note a very important fact, dear friends from the media, This High Court scam, 70 crore worth of scam, has actually turned into the gateway of Operation Lotus in Delhi. We all know what Operation Lotus is, how the BJP has sabotaged the people's interests all across country in the name of development, in the name of Vikas. Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, and the Vikas is nowhere to be seen. They were not able to arrive at this land of culture, the land of kind-hearted people, Nagaland. But how they paved way for Operation Lotus to Nagaland? 2016, if you recall, it was for the first time the state of Assam, had its first BJP CM. 2017, the Nagaland Tribes Council files a PIL. 2018, right before your state goes to election, the Guwahati High Court pronounces its order on the suo motu cognizance case that was running before it, against the PIL that was filed by the Nagaland Tribes Council, in which it was ordered that there should be a CBI probe, whereafter a CBI charge sheet was filed against the current government. Till then, the BJP was nowhere in picture, and you remember how a ratio of 20-40 was agreed upon in 2018. And now I hear they're fighting for 30-30. It's all over the place. Because the Operation Lotus has paved its way, not only found its roots into the state of Nagaland, but also expanded so much so that they've made the CM of the state sit before the ED for the wrongdoings of his own, of course, for the shortcomings and fallouts of his own government. Being incumbent for 3 full terms and playing such terrible jokes on the people of Nagaland is not funny. It's not acceptable. And the Congress, although we've been sitting out of the system for about 20 years now, we were in opposition, and the last term, thanks to Operation Lotus, that they could mislead the peace-loving, the kind-hearted, the futuristic, forward people of Nagaland. Operation Lotus has led the state of Nagaland astray. And if they are allowed to expand and advance, it's going to be worse. Because then, as I already said, they're fighting for 30-30 now. And you never know if that happens. They promised Achhe Din to the whole country. When I was driving from Dimapur to Kohima today, I saw all along the way this membership drive, the money that's being invested here for the publicity and for the membership drive run by the BJP. But let me just say that if that so happens, you'll be opening a gateway for sabotaging of the fundamental rights that the Constitution guaranteed to the people of this country, to the people of Nagaland, by way of the Constitution that we stand strong, fully committed to protect to the last breath. And if this 30-30 ratio happens, if the BJP, the Operation Lotus of the BJP expands, owing to the support of the Rio government, it's going to be the end of the fundamental rights, as it is going to be the onset of the CAA and UCC, about which I'll talk in my next briefing soon. That's it. Now you can start with. So yes, there's a lot to talk about. Nagaland, thanks to the Rio coalition government, is immersed in 90% corruption right now. While the rate of corruption elsewhere across the country is 40 to 50%, in Nagaland, it is the Rio government which has been totally blackmailed by the Modi factor, by the Operation Lotus. The corruption is at 90% today. And we'll be talking at length, issue by issue. The working president, it is, in the last 20 years, before that the situation was different. In the last 20 years, it is appalling that Nagaland has never had a woman legislator. So if Congress comes, there's going to be more inclusivity.
Ma'am, the BJP, speaking on Northeast context, the BJP is on a mission to have a Congress-moved state, a full-fledged BJP government in all these 7 Northeast states. What do you have to say regarding Nagaland? Do you think this could happen?
Mr. Creedy.
Yeah, as far as possible, Congress being a secular party, we feel that all like-minded people should join hands together and see forces which are against our interests. As we could see today, the policy programs of the BJP is of one religion. And Nagaland, being a Christian state, I think we have opted for Congress Party, which is a secular party. And I'm sure whatever BJP may be trying to enforce its policy, its ideology to the people of the Northeast, I think people will fully understand what the motive behind, and we have also seen what Congress has done for this, for the region, for the state of Nagaland, and it is high time that people also wake up and come to Congress, join our hands, so that we set up a strong secular force in the region. I think regarding the High Court issue, yes, others also has raised, but Congress also was equally, we are raising our concern on the High Court, which we have seen that for so many years now, the High Court, we have been hoping and assurance has been given by the government that it will be completed, and we will have a separate High Court in the state. But till today, we are yet to see the reality of its completion. And this is an issue where everybody knows and everybody is talking about it. And Congress we are strongly against corruption, and the way the High Court building could not come out is all because of the corruption that has taken place. And we are yet to see how the government will try to fulfill its promises of completing the High Court.
And I must add to it that the levels of corruption, malaise, deceit, opportunism under the Rio coalition government with the BJP have now risen to an intolerable level. It's now at a level where I think this is the saturation point. You know, they talk about the governance of saturation. Recently we heard the Modi government, the BJP in its internal meeting, the national meeting, they said they were talking about the governance of saturation. Yes, this is the saturation point of malaise, deceit, breach of people's trust, corruption, blackmailing. You see, Nagaland is not solitary in that sense. You have seen a Maharashtra happen. You see how horse trading has become the norm of the day for elections in this country, in this democratic country where people, we are a democracy by the people, for the people, of the people. And how the public mandate has been inserted time and again. Now that we see, in the last couple of days, we've seen how the BJP is trying to dominate the scene, and the Rio government is helping that, aiding that. And that, the same kind of foul play with democracy can happen here. It is high time. We may or may not be in power. We may or may not win the elections at the end of the day, though we fight to win. We fight to make a comeback to the Legislative Assembly of Nagaland. But let me just say that we will not let Nagaland turn into an Assam, a Manipur, a Goa, a Maharashtra, or a Madhya Pradesh. You remember how right before the pandemic, before announcing a massive lockdown, an unplanned lockdown on the people of this country, a historical, abruptly historical lockdown, how they played foul with the public mandate in Madhya Pradesh. So we won't let that happen in Nagaland. We'll fight hard with all our might to let the public mandate prevail over all sorts of foul play, to enlighten, to awaken the power hidden in the democracy, in the populace of Nagaland.
Nagaland TV, Sob Manulaga Awas. Watch us live on Geo TV and on your television sets as well. For Dimapur viewers, we are on channel number 994 in Global Chapter, and Kohima and Mokokchung viewers, switch to channel number 138 on Hornbill Digital. For all news and updates, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter.